Hi, and welcome to the Ada K Show. I am Ada K. Brown, and am currently a criminal justice major, and I'm a deaf courtroom commentator. Grab a cup of Java, and let's dive in. Well, hello, all you lovely people. Welcome. Get a little funk on today. We have love it. Okay, guys, I just want to say good evening. This is Miss Diane, who's got the hand movement. Y'all know my interpreter, Miss Lovely Diane over here. And then, guys, we have a special guest, Mr. Bob Matas. I say it right?
You did.
Yeah, welcome. And Bob,
Thanks
I'm going to
for
let
having
you
me.
kind of share who you are and what your passion is. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get all this other stuff done.
I like it. Yeah, I'm just a guy. So there you go. Now my name is Bob Mata. I have practiced law for about 23 years. I got an itch to get out of practicing actively. I'm still an active attorney, but back in 2021, I decided to start a podcast. Went to my beautiful wife, asked her if she would support me in doing so. Of course, she did. And so I got into the podcast game. Kind of my initial, I thought, hook into getting into it was that my father had represented serial killer John Wayne Gacy back in 1980. He was his trial lawyer. He'd given all his taped interviews to me, which I held on to forever and didn't really know what to do with them. And I thought they had value in a weird, disturbing type of way, but I thought that they had historic value. It's certainly, the Gacy thing is definitely certainly a part of our fabric of our country, as dark and horrible as it is. It's history nonetheless. So I decided I wanted to do a podcast, and I did. So I did that first podcast, and like Defense Diaries, which is my podcast, which you can get to through that QR code there if you can see it. That's really my baby. Like it's my pride and joy. That's the thing that I really left the practice of law, was to do the pod. And then kind of along the way, it was driving me nuts that I wasn't able to cover any current cases, because I'm a lawyer. I know a lot about the judicial process. And, I'm like, wow, there's true crime is huge. There's not a lot of criminal defense attorneys out there kind of explaining this thing that so many people seem to enjoy diving into. Some of the intricacies, which I think if you have an understanding of those things, that really heightens your enjoyment in terms of what you're watching, because I think if you have comprehension of what you're watching and understanding, what they're talking about when they're talking about motions and, all the other legalese that you hear when you're watching a trial, I thought that would be a pretty interesting way to be able to educate and hopefully entertain our people. And then I'd say about 14 months ago, Allie and I decided to bring the docket, which is Allie and I covering all. Allie is my wife and also a criminal defense attorney and also a complete badass. And
Bring her on.
Yeah, I will. She's actually knocked out right now. We had a very, very long day.
I hope we'll be doing this again and y'all get to see her then.
Oh, yeah. Like I love what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing. So I was thrilled to guest tonight and chat with y'all. I think it's wonderful what you guys are doing. I think it's a really neat thing for people that are hearing impaired. And I think it's nice that you provide a service for them to be able to enjoy the same thing that everyone else can. So it's very, very valuable what you do.
Lisa, thank you so much, beloved. Oh, I thank people right away, so excuse me.
You don't need to. So do I. Typically. Well, if we're trying to turn it into a podcast, like we started like keeping it to the end, but yeah, like initially I did too. So the docket then was Allie and I, and I'm like, you know what? I think that we should start a YouTube channel, which is what we did over on YouTube here. And so that's when we started Defense Diaries podcast over on our channel. And it's been about 13 months. It's been amazing. We love our community. I'm sure we'll have some folks from our community in here
I hope
tonight.
so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I'm sure shoot. Well, like
I like to bring different communities
one of our
together.
gals. So
Yeah.
she's amazing.
Well, I tell people I'm not here to take people away from other people, but I do enjoy that they hop on when we do joint adventures. I think it's always awesome to do things with other people and do collabs because different points of view, and we learn.
100%.
And I'm
right.
I'm like a sponge right now. Of course, I'm going to college, but I'm just like I'm eating this stuff up. I wanted, and we've advertised at Delphi. So, what I'm going to have you guys do is anybody in comments, please, if you want to ask a question, put a question mark in front of it so we know that's a question. And then if we get a chance, we'll get to it. We'll do our best. I'll start and we'll get to some questions. We do have a limited time tonight because of family commitments and things. So life happens, unfortunately. But I'm going to kind of give you the floor. But I've already shared with you kind of what I was curious about. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the things that you were, and I think that your concerns probably, I would hope, echo most people's concerns especially if you're an American citizen, in terms of what they did with Richard Allen with his pretrial detaining in a prison was unbelievable. I in my 20 plus years had never seen anything like it.
Mm-mm.
It was shocking. And the problem with it is obviously it violated his rights, but it also causes a lot of issues in terms of, for me in particular, in trusting the verdict and trusting what happened in that trial because of what they did during the course of the pretrial confinement. It's like you just can't keep somebody in solitary for 13 months under the guise that it's for safekeeping.
Well, it's first of all, if you are not, and you can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I always like to, you never know if I'm wrong or right. If you're not been convicted, you're supposed to be in a jail, first of all, not a prison.
It's correct.
And secondly, at least here in the state of Texas, you cannot be held in solitary confinement more than 15 days in a jail and no more than 30 days in a prison. That's my understanding. So any way you slice it, that's say what? And then of course we have the issue with the Odinism. I did a breakdown on the Odinism and we looked at the drawings. I saw the actual photos of the victims and the way the sticks were laid and all this conspiracy stuff that everybody does. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that's actually the truth. I mean, I don't ignore it. But there's just so many things wrong. I didn't follow this at first, Bob, because I was so new. And I think that when the Karen Reed trial going or some other trial was going on at the time that I was in. And then I got into this and my mouth hit the floor and I was like scraping the floor all the way across this trial. So
yeah, it's one of those cases that and it's interesting because it was a very high profile case, but there was no coverage of it by the media because the judge wouldn't allow any of it to be streamed. So Indiana allows cameras in the courtroom.
Well,
However,
wonder why.
yeah, I mean, there are valid reasons why you may not want cameras in the courtroom, but kind of what happened procedurally in this case for 2 years leading up to the trial, I think warranted that it should have been streamed. I think American citizens deserved to see that we needed to see that trial. I think everybody needed to see that trial. Instead, it was myself and a couple of other lawyers, law tubers, Lawyer Lee and Andrea Burkhart, went in there and did the best that we could to act as court reporters, essentially. I mean, I was there for every day of the trial and I was
Wow.
observing, but not really. I was really just trying to transcribe every word that was said. I'm not a fast writer. Andrea is. So, and my writing is terrible. So I was in there. So I missed a lot of what I would otherwise be focusing on if I'm in there observing, which is the demeanor of the witnesses on the stand, all of the things that are going on in the well of the courtroom, trying to observe the jury, are certain things hitting when they're trying to make points during a cross or a direct. You're trying to figure it out by looking, so all those things that you look at when you're observing a trial, which are really fascinating, like I really didn't have the opportunity to do because I was having to write the whole time because it was important to me. And I think it was important to Lee and Andrea that we all be as accurate as possible in terms of what was being said. I wanted my notes to be like when the transcripts come out, I'm 95% accurate in terms of what was said. It wasn't based on opinion, wasn't on a slant, wasn't the fact that I'm a defense attorney. These weren't opinionated notes. They were just me writing down what was said from the participants in the courtroom. So it was frustrating in that sense. And yeah, the case is I don't know how to describe it. I really don't.
Kangaroo court,
I,
but sickly twisted.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those cases where I just can't remember a case where post verdict I have seen almost and I don't even want to put a percentage on it, but I have seen a huge amount of people questioning whether or not they got the right guy. And you just don't see that. Like, I mean,
Well,
think about it. Like, can you name I don't know how long you've been watching trials.
oh,
I mean,
I'm
all the way
54
back.
years old. I've been
Right.
watching since before OJ.
Right. So we're the same age. Can you think of any trial where there was a conviction? And I'm not talking about cases where 20 years later.
No, I know where you're going at this moment. The moment it's over, you're going, hell no.
Right.
I've seen where people have gotten off, and I'm like, OJ.
Right. Right.
I'm just saying you see they get off, and you're going, no, hell, he did this. But this way, no, I haven't. And that's why I kind of got involved in this late, and I feel bad. But that said, um, I um I have really struggled. I don't even see how this could have gone to trial. I struggle with the human rights issues. I struggle with the whole thing. Real quick, y'all, if you want a question, this is the way to get our attention. Bob, how would RA be able to appeal on the basis of ineffective assistance of counsel when he went to SJC saying he wanted to keep Brad and Andy despite the judge saying they weren't competent?
Well, I mean, ineffective isn't, you can't pigeonhole ineffective assistance of counsel into one kind of definition. That's a simple answer. You can be ineffective many, many different ways. So, like Rick Allen doesn't know how to practice law. So like Rick Allen wouldn't know if things that should have been done weren't done or things that shouldn't have been done were done. He doesn't have the ability as a layperson to be able to know whether or not that was ineffective. That will be left to attorneys down the road. So that's kind of the short answer to that. If you're asking if Rick Allen saying that he wanted them to stay on like he wanted them to stay on as his attorneys waives the issue, it doesn't waive it for the purposes of appeal. But in the direct appeal, which is the first appeal that happens right after trial, it's rare to see the primary thrust of that particular appeal be ineffective assistance. It's going to really focus on primarily the errors that the appellate lawyers believe that Judge Gall made during the 2 years of the motion phase of that case, moving forward, starting with the safekeeping hearing, the thing that so many people are upset about, wherein there wasn't even a hearing. And Richard Allen, when he was arrested, his wife Kathy had obtained an attorney on the 26th of October, found a guy, paid him five grand. He sent an email confirming that he received the money, and he starts making calls. The lawyer starts making calls on behalf of Kathy and Rick to Nick McClelland, who's the prosecutor, and to the sheriff. So they knew he was at that point represented. So he had been taken into custody on the 26th, but he wasn't officially charged until the 28th, 2 days later. And at that point, Kathy gets a call or an email, I can't remember which, from the lawyer saying, okay, well, here's the deal. They've now officially charged your husband with 2 counts of felony murder, and the 5 grand you paid me isn't going to be nearly enough. I'll need
put about 5 zeros behind that to get started.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was like he needed another $345,000.
Just aim for $1 million. Just ask for $1 million.
Yeah, it was big money. So obviously Kathy's like, well, I can't come up with that. So after that happens, but they know he exists. So they know that he has a lawyer because McClelland has spoken to him. The sheriff has spoken to him. Yet the sheriff goes in front of a judge in Carroll County, and the judge purportedly assists the sheriff in writing his petition to have a safekeeping order put in place. And a safekeeping order is where you're allowing a pretrial detainee, as you aptly noted, who typically will be held in jail, a county jail, not in prison. Prison is for convicted felons. So
not isolated and being monitored by the jail inmate on a one-on-one. Huh?
Right.
Sorry. Oh, by the way, I used to work at the state hospital for the forensically insane and those who are incompetent to withstand trial. I know all about one-on-one.
Yeah. So that there wasn't even a real hearing. Like that order gets signed, and what that order did, it allowed Richard Allen to be placed into the custody of the Indiana Department of Corrections as opposed to the county sheriff. So once you're in the IDOC, that means you're going to a prison. So he ends up going to a prison. And the problem was, not only did they not communicate with that attorney, who they didn't know had written an email or called Kathy and said, I can't represent you. But more importantly, they didn't even let Rick know that he was having a hearing. But there was no real hearing. Like, in the important part of that aspect of it is that Richard Allen, in the state of Indiana, you can, if you find out, okay, look, the state has not deemed me to be a threat to other people, like other inmates or the guards. They're only concerned with my safekeeping. He can reject it. He could say, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah,
I thanks that you want to keep me real safe in the prison there, but I'm good. I
I'm
just
happy in the jail. Just I sign away your liability and responsibility on that. I take my own safety into my own
exactly,
hands. You're not
exactly,
responsible if I go out in the yard and they decide to shank me.
exactly. And so that didn't happen. And so the rest, as they say, is history. He gets sent to Westville, spends 13 months there, slips into psychosis, confesses a whole bunch
Let's
of
hop
times.
on that. We did have a quick question, but
Mhm.
I do have a little bit of knowledge about that stuff. I'm a very knowledgeable person medically. I'm not a doctor, but I've been a first responder.
Do you
But
play
I
one on TV though?
Huh? Yeah, I played one on TV. But one of my bangs are just going everywhere, guys. It's Sunday night. I don't care.
It seems like you
Um,
have a little fan going. Do you have like a
I
luxurious
do have a
fan?
little. I have a fan right above the camera because let me tell you, I have a computer that's like monstrous, and it puts out a ton of heat. It's a huge computer, and it puts out a lot of heat. So I do have to have a fan. But we do have some questions popping up, and I'm gonna pin y'all. Don't worry, we won't forget about it. We will get to your questions. But let's talk about the mentalness of this poor soul. First of all, did I understand it correctly that they basically did some really inappropriate torture techniques on this poor soul by keeping lights on and doing all kind of crazy stuff, or is that hearsay? I mean, what did
No, I
they do
mean,
to him?
yeah,
Because then I can tell you what I was gonna say.
the lights were kept on. The state would rebut it by saying, well, he could dim them if he wanted to. But they wouldn't go all the way off, but he could dim the lights. Look, I mean, anybody that's
Mhm.
been in solitary for 23 hours a day for 13 months, no one can withstand that psychologically. No one.
No, and he's probably in what I call the moving van blanket dress.
Yes. They
Um,
call it like like a Fred Flintstone smock.
Swimsuit. Yeah, I call it the moving dress, because it's the same padded material of that
Right,
blanket.
right.
Um, when in the state hospital, we get people who are waiting for trial. They're evaluating them to see if they're competent to withstand trial. And, I did a lot of one-on-ones, meaning when they come in, I'm sitting with them, and my ears are caught on my chair, and I'm sitting with them, and I mean, lights out. We sit there with the lights out. I mean, what they did to him, they don't even do to the worst mentally unstable people in the state hospital, much less a inmate. And you can't sit 13 months without having any real human contact. They said, oh, he could see his doctor and he could see his lawyer, and he had another inmate as a companion sitting outside. They were taking notes and writing down the times and doing. First of all, that shouldn't even be able to stand up in court. Thank you so much, Jennifer. That should not even be able to stand up in court because they're not trained, nor are they a professional. They're an inmate. Did that information come into court? If so, why? I mean, that just blow out of all of this so far, not to mention what happened, but that blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a lot a lot of his medical information came in. I mean, certainly all of his mental health records came in. I mean, a lot of that was made privy to the jury. And that was done by both the state and the defense, though. The defense, once Alan starts, saying, I did it, I did it, I did it, I killed the girls, I did it. That becomes a real problem for his lawyers because, this is a guy who had maintained his innocence always up until the point where this 3-month period where it's not debatable. I mean, the time that he makes all these statements is
He's
when
in psychosis,
he's
right?
in psychosis. And,
All
you
right,
know,
let's break down what psychosis is for a lot of people that don't understand. What most people are familiar with is drug induced psychosis. That's where you take a legal or illegal drug that spins your mind into a place that's not real, it's not reality. You sometimes see or believe things to be happening that are not happening. You are very, very prone to suggestion. So if someone suggests, that's why we were trained. We had somebody there that we knew was in psychosis. You can't even say anything that can suggest if is the light dark, anything like that will spin them off. So
Right.
you can't suggest, you can't do any of that. So with him, and then being told he can't talk to his family, can't talk to anyone, am I not correct?
You're
Unless he
correct.
confessed, and then he yeah. So,
Well, we don't
but
know that. So, like, because like the
but
counter
in a
argument,
drug-induced psychosis state, if
right?
you're told, "Don't you realize you told us a month ago, honey, you did this. We just need you to confirm it, and then you can call your wife." That kind of manipulation when you're in a drug-induced psychosis state, you'll do and say anything they want you to.
100%.
And
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 that's always been my position on it. Like, not that they, the
that was not
torture,
given free, drug-free, like you, the judge, say, "You're giving this freely. Are you on any medications?
right?
Are you aware of what you're saying?"
Right. Like, this isn't a situation where you've got a guy that is in custody right after he's arrested, and
Mhm.
the police are able to break him down, and he confesses. This is a guy
How many
who
months into it went before he confessed
he's
in that 13 month
he's
of
5
isolation?
he's 5 months in, and the most important part is that they had shut him off from any contact with Kathy. And Kathy is his wife, and they've been married for 35 years.
Oh,
And
that's ugh.
oh, no, it was, but it's beyond that. Like, he's got a dependency disorder. He leans on Kathy heavily. So he
He's
came into
codependent?
it. Yeah. Yeah. It's a disorder he has, that
Mhm.
he's constantly needing reaffirmation that he's not, a bad person and worthless. And like, Kathy's always been that person for him. And so when they shut him off from all communication, and she can't come and see him, and that's like the first 5 months, because people are like, oh, well, he would talk to her all the time on the tablet. And I'm like, that was that was when it was already too late, that he'd already gotten into that mindset where he's lost. So he's left with the only person that he's speaking to is this Monica Walla, who's the psychologist, that he meets with daily, and it varies from 5 minutes, sometimes up to an hour. And they put him in a cage. So they'll take him, they'll put a sack over his head and walk him shackled down the hallway, and they stick him in a small cage. Hannibal
Didn't the
Lecter.
Geneva Convention say you can't even do that to prisoners?
The whole thing's crazy.
It is. Okay, let's get I know we gotta watch our time, so let's get to a question, but question, I guess to narrow that down, does he possibly have any recourse in the courts for unusual cruelty, can he sue them for the way that he was treated? Oh, thank you so much, love.
Yeah. I mean, anytime your civil rights are violated in this country, you can file a 1983 action, which is a civil action where you're suing, um, on the basis that your rights were violated. And certainly it appears that many of his rights were violated during the course of that.
I don't think there wasn't a right that he had that wasn't violated, in all
So,
honesty.
I mean, like, at the end of the day, for Richard Allen, though, do you care about money, or do you care about your freedom? It's
Freedom.
yeah, you gotta pick your battles. Like, and I think the thing that everybody's concerned with right now is getting him a fair trial, to where
Well,
his
but
defense can put forth a defense, because the judge just shut it down in a way that I'd never seen.
well,
I've seen them limit third party culprit stuff, kind of keep you on a tight leash. Can't just go popping off. Can't talk about random people that have no connection to anything. Like, that's not what they were doing, but judge's goal was this standard where, essentially, to me, it appeared that they had to solve the case in order for them to point the finger, and bring the Saudis, some other dude did it, defense in, which is not the standard for that.
no, it isn't.
Not
Real
for that.
quick, he told the police question here, I'm gonna read just the question part. He told the police he was on the bridge that day to be helpful, correct? Should he or should he not have done that?
Hi, Debbie. That's a great question. How would you answer it? It's you kind of it gives you
If I'm
pause,
not looking at if I'm not being looked at as a victim, yeah, I'll say, "Yeah, I was there, didn't say anything." I mean, perpetrator.
right?
If I'm being looked at as a perpetrator, I would keep my mouth shut and get an attorney. I tell people all the time, if you are in a room with a camera or even just in a room within a police or sheriff's department or FBI or whatever, lawyer up. Don't say a word, even though you may not be the actual person they're looking at. Anything you say will be used against you or somebody else. Lawyer up. That's my humble opinion. You may not agree with me on that.
Me, I don't agree with you. What are you talking about? That's like on my
Oh,
business.
that was rhetorical.
Yeah, yeah. That's the first thing. I'm like, shut up. That's the first rule. You don't talk to
I
the
have one good thing that I can do.
police.
You got 3 hours, honey, to get me a certified interpreter, or I'm free.
Yeah, yeah.
And let me tell you where I live, it would take at least that. Okay, another question here. Wait, here's the other question. Bob, how did the Supreme Court not find Judge Gull biased when she tried to get them removed from the case?
I was at that hearing, and basically what happened with that is it was a collateral proceeding, meaning that proceeding had little to do with Rick Allen, and it had nothing to do with his underlying case, other than the fact that it was his attorneys of choice that had been removed from the case that were trying to get back on. So what happened? They filed what's called a writ of mandamus in an
Mhm.
original action, and that original action skipped the um, there's another step that's typically taken, which is called an interlocutory appeal. They felt that because an interlocutory appeal would have to get basically approved by Judge Gall in order for that to go forward and get to the appellate court. There were various reasons they didn't think that the interlocutory appeal was a viable option for them. So they skipped that step and went right up to the Supreme Court and said, "Hey, she's biased. She kicked us off the case. She had no right. She was well beyond her discretion. This is not something that she had the ability to do, was take us off the case." So they argued in front of the Indiana Supreme Court. And I was there, and when you're in the Indiana Supreme Court, there's the argument in the papers, the pleadings, and then there's the argument that they can actually make in court. You get a lot of back and forth with the justices. It's very interesting if you've never watched appellate law, or like, say, for instance, Supreme Court argument. You'd probably really like it. It's very, very interesting. It's different. It's very different than trial work because lawyers are standing at the podium, they're making their argument, and they're going back and forth with judges as they're speaking. So the judges will be interrupting the lawyer, and it's like
So
they're not
tell me, lawyer, what do you believe? I mean, you're just like
exactly,
I just did. And let me
exactly.
tell you, I watched Ian Runkles of the Baileys. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about in Canada. I found his video where he went before their Supreme Court in y'all just Google Supreme, just watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing,
I should have been a
especially if
lawyer.
you're like a law nerd. It's because that, like, you're getting to the nuts and bolts of lawyering. It's very different than trial work, because you're essentially just crafting an argument. You're fighting a position, and you're basing it either on existing law, or you're arguing to make new law, or you're arguing that the existing law is bad and for various reasons. So it's really how law is made. Like, we could
Right.
get into a very long esoteric conversation about that, which is very interesting. But so at the end of the day, in the oral argument, Judge Gall wasn't even mentioned. So when I walked out of that courtroom, I'm like, I think the Supreme Court's going to reappoint them. I think Gull's going to stay on because it wasn't even litigated orally. It was litigated in the papers, but like no one mentioned it. The justices didn't ask about it. And like if it's laying dormant like that through an entire hearing, it gives you kind of it's a little bit of a precursor to knowing they're probably not going to address it. So it didn't surprise me. I think I called it exactly the way it came down, like walking out of the courthouse. I'm like, I think they're going to get reappointed. They got reappointed the same day, which is very unusual. So Supreme Court came back and said, they're back on. We're not doing anything with Gall other than to kind of admonish her and say, okay, you need to keep a better record. You're not doing the job in terms of keeping the appellate record clean.
And we don't always know what goes down behind closed doors.
What do you mean always? We never know what's going on. I mean,
well, I'm trying to be a little on the polite. In other words, bitch, please, we don't understand a damn thing that goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the whole thing with transparency. That's the whole
it
point.
ain't.
That's why we need everything to be of public record.
Exactly.
So we're not worried about what they're doing behind closed doors. Keep it all on the docket. Keep it so that if you can go down to your local clerk and say, okay, I want to pull the case file from this case, and they're going to plop it in front of you. And if you want to read through the pleadings, you can. And the reason that we do that is for transparency, and so that we can test that the government is acting on the up and up. I mean, the whole purpose of the Constitution is to stop the government from trampling upon us. Like that's why they wrote the document. And like the whole public trial thing, the whole transparency thing, it's accountability, it's being able to know what they're up to. And like this case was tried in the dark, and you see what the result does. Like there could be elements of what happened in Richard Allen's case that are way off the mark, but because of the fact in terms of what people are thinking out on the streets, but because of the way that the thing was tried in the dark, it makes everybody suspicious.
Yeah. Real quick, did we do this one? Is this the one we're on? Allen ordered the IDOC to hearing without the okay, we did that one. The next one is
wait, I think Jennifer, yes, that's right. It's due process.
Right.
It's a violation of his due process rights, yes.
Okay. Is there any financial other ways to support Rick, Kathy, and their family or potential retrial?
I don't know that they've done a GoFundMe. I know there was like a big push to get a fund started for Kathy and Rick. And I had asked Kathy, I said, well, like a lot of people want to help you and Rick, whether it be for attorney, whatever you need the money for. And Kathy was like, no. She's like, if anybody wants to donate money, I want it to go to organizations that are fighting for prison reform, which I thought was obviously important.
Well, one thing is though, when you donate that money, there could be some tax implications on that. So I know in another case locally, what we did was we just sent the money directly to the attorney's office. And then that instead of it going to their hands and then from their bank account into the attorney's, is I just said people just wrote a check to the attorney and put the name of the client at the bottom of the check, and it went to help the bill.
Yeah.
So I guess if you really want to do something,
for like now they've so they're at the appellate stage. He's been appointed 2 appellate defenders, 2 of the most highly respected appellate defenders in the state of Indiana as well. So, and they, that's on the arm. That's free. He doesn't have to pay for those attorneys. However, if the direct appeal is not successful, then that gets denied. And then they have to eventually get to the post-conviction route, which is where you bring in newly discovered evidence. That's where you'll bring in arguments about ineffective assistance of counsel. Like that's where all that kind of stuff comes in. That kind of investigation oftentimes will cost money because you need manpower to run around and do digging, because you're essentially reinvestigating the case, and if you could find leads and we see it in cases, we see it a lot of times where podcasters are out there doing digging, and they talk to a witness that the cops have talked to, and they say something different or they say something additional, or they talk to somebody that nobody had talked to. I mean, there's ways to get these cases
Well,
looked at and opened up again that exist out there. So,
one thing I've learned, and I've done a lot of stuff. I was Red Cross 15 years disability integration, and Hurricane Katrina to Hurricane Harvey. I've been through it all. Was in the Ninth Ward. And one thing I trained my people, because we would have to interview people, and I say, if the question isn't asked, there's never going to be an answer. So don't hesitate to ask questions, even if you think it's the littlest of question could open up the entire world to this person. And I
100%.
think that a lot of times police officers don't get that, and a lot of investigators forget that. And in 20 years later, you have someone say that was interviewed, and they go, "Oh, we already interviewed them." Yeah, but guess what? You didn't ask them X, Y, and Z, and now they're saying A, B, and C. So, I mean, you never know what's going to open that door. The next question we have is the ways to support. We said that. Okay. Um, Here is Lisa. Thank you so much for the super chat. Judge Gold ignored the paperwork that recently been filed. Is there any way to get her as a judge off the case in the future?
I don't know that she's ignored it. She's given time to respond and rule. So, it's relatively fresh. I'm sure she's gonna write her order up before too long. It should. I think there should be a hearing. I think if I were Nick McClelland, I would want a hearing if I had any way to set the record straight. And I'm talking about the prosecutor. I mean, I don't know if you had an opportunity to read the motion to correct errors that was filed pretty recently in that case.
Not yet.
It's
And
pretty
by the
much,
way, just learning. I have what I call document fairies. Like I said, I'm dyslexic as hell, and you've got 20,000 things listed. I'm going, so, yes, I'm in the process of going through some of his documents. It just takes me a little longer.
yeah, check that one out. It's the
I
most
will.
recent thing filed. It's pretty bombshell.
I
So,
will definitely.
yeah,
Next one.
it's
This
definitely
kind of,
worth their
yeah,
time.
yeah,
And that
I will.
that'll really get you up to speed, and it kind of gets you to like exactly
If you
where
want to send it to me so I don't have to hunt and peck for it, that would be great.
I can absolutely send it to you.
Okay. I would love
Um,
any documents you want to send me my way. Just not that you're required to, or I expect you to, but don't hesitate.
here's the way that's going to work. Any document that you decide that you want, you just hit me up and I'll send it to you. I'm
That
not
sounds
going
like
to
a
sit
plan.
there sending you documents.
No, no, what I meant
I'm,
by that is the document that you're talking about or anything we talked tonight about.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
I'm
I
saying
won't have it,
anything
but
you
no.
want that you can
Just
think
let you
of,
know.
if you read about
Okay.
something like, ooh, this would be something like, I'll happily send you anything I got.
Gladly. Well, I won't
Yes,
harass you. Don't worry about that.
I'm not worried about
Um,
that. It's nothing but a
um,
click and a click.
yeah. Debbie, this is interesting. Do you think the judge was trying to hide things from the public by not allowing the cameras?
I don't know. I don't know. I quit trying to
Second guess her?
not even second guess, just try to get into her mind. I don't know what she was doing. You know what I mean? It's like she makes so many bizarre decisions during the course of like 2+ years that just seem to kind of fly in the face of logic. Because I think what people tend to forget is, it wasn't her demeanor at all that I found appalling. Like I've been in front of many, many stern judges, many judges that don't suffer fools. That's not unusual. Like I've been in front of a majority of judges that are not fans of defense attorneys. I mean, it's not uncommon. Like
No
those
offense, who is?
yeah, I mean, everybody should be because we protect all
Yeah,
of
I
our
know. You should
rights.
be.
Yeah, I've spent 2 years trying to educate people to not think that, because we are the ones who protect us from the cops and the government.
Well, I
So,
tell them, look, they're doing their job. If you're not liking them for whatever reason that struck a nerve with you, maybe you need to look at that because it's true. I mean, you're there defending my right. If I'm accused of something and they go, well, how can they defend somebody that they know that they know that they know that they're guilty? And I said, but they still have rights. Well, so did my daughter who they unalived. Where are her rights? I mean, You're always going to get that. And I feel
Well,
bad for y'all on
well,
that.
the counter argument to that, that's not how the Constitution works. The
Right.
rights, like, I mean, they're every American. You can't. The point of the Constitution, you don't pick and choose who it applies to, right? Like, does it like awful or amazing? It applies to all of us equally. That's what the whole thing is about. So, and the reality is that when defense attorneys are doing their job, and people are like, well, how could you defend? Well, because every American citizen in this country has the right to a fair trial. Now, 95% of cases don't go to trial.
Right.
Most cases are pled out. Most of the time, the cops get it right. Most of the time, they don't break the law and violate people's constitutional rights. But those things do happen. And that's why defense attorneys exist. If I've got a guy that I know has done something awful, I mean, the likelihood is he's going to plead. It's rare that you go to trial where they've got your client dead to rights. You know, as the attorney, you're going to sit there, you're going to tell your client, man, hey, it's your choice whether or not we go to trial, but I'm going to tell you there is no magical way to spin this in front of a jury where you're not going down on this thing. So,
Would
you
that
know,
be Sarah Boone?
I mean, if you have a death penalty case, they have nothing to lose. So they might
True.
as well go to trial. You know, so you'll see those type of cases go to trial because look, I mean, the worst possible result is what is at stake. So you might as well fight it. But, you know, like a vast majority of cases aren't death penalty cases. So the point being is that people just have a real misconception of what it is that defense attorneys do. And what the way that you should be thinking about it is when I file a motion to suppress a piece of evidence because they violated, say it's a drug case, right? Say they did an illegal search on my client's either in his vehicle or in his house or on his person. They didn't have probable cause. And I file a motion to suppress that evidence, which means that they would keep it out of trial. They'd say, okay, the judge said, look, he argued it. I heard the facts. He's right. You violated this guy's constitutional rights. So you're losing your evidence, which means that case is getting kicked. The problem for most of society, because everybody watches Discovery ID, where all they do is hear cops and, you know, prosecutors, and everybody thinks they're the heroes all the time. Your finger pointing is supposed to go to the cop who violated that person's rights because he's the one who screwed up. The defense attorney is just calling him on it because that defense attorney is literally protecting all of our rights. Because if you don't call cops out on violating the law, what do you think they're going to do?
They're going to keep on doing it, honey.
That's right.
That's why we get corrupt cops. We really, really do.
And you have to think about just how easy it is sometimes to just fudge a case a little bit when you have that much power with that gun and that badge, and you have that much, you've got that much sway over somebody's life. I mean, a cop has more power, frankly, than almost anybody I can think of on like a real basic level. Like they can, like a cop can grab you off the street and throw your ass in jail and essentially keep you there for 48 hours within the constraints of the law just because he wants to.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and
they're concerned or not, they want to take it out on some poor soul, and you just so happen to be in the crosshairs.
Right. And they're just people that like went to the police academy. You know, these aren't like incredibly honorable, truthful people. They're just people that have a job, that have a gun and a badge, that went to an academy and learned how to protect themselves, and learned how to effectuate arrests, and learned how to shoot a gun. And then they give a whole lot of power. So you need people watching them, and the people that watch them are us.
Yeah.
That's who watches them.
By the way, this is thank you everyone for the gifted memberships. I really, really appreciate and love all the super chats and memberships. Thank you. We are a very young channel and I appreciate all the support. I was somebody who, let's just say I went and reported something, and because of my ex-husband, some of you know, my ex-husband went to prison, And because of my connection to him, I was not treated well by the law. Guilty by association, and I won't ever share here what he did, it doesn't matter. But, let's just say that cops, when they don't like you or like somebody that you know, they have no problem pulling you over and searching your car and tossing everything and calling you bad names, and so I tell everybody we are all 30 seconds away from ending up in a jail cell. We all are. One
Can happen
traffic
to
stop
anybody.
with somebody that's not happy. You never know from one moment to the next, and people sometimes are very naive about that. They are.
Well,
And I
yeah.
tell people, you're only one decision away from ending up in a psych ward too.
Yeah, it's people think sometimes that real life is a lot like TV, and it's nothing like TV.
Mm-mm.
It's nothing like TV.
So, what about the Delphi? What about the Odinism and all of that stuff? First of all, I'm gonna say is I do not believe that those girls were unalived where they were. I have seen a lot of gory situations as a first responder, volunteer, firefighter, and emergency services chaplain. I have seen a lot of death. I have seen a lot of ways people are unalived. So when I saw the pictures of this, the raw pictures, I did get them. I was like, what? There's no way these girls were unalived in that area with nobody hearing it. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that, but I can't believe this. If I was on a jury, I would not have been able to convict with my personal knowledge and understanding of what I saw.
Well, the jury didn't get to
Thank
hear.
you, Lisa.
Yeah,
What?
the jury didn't get to hear any of that.
What?
What do you mean? What?
They didn't get to hear. They did. Were they not shown pictures of the girls?
Yeah, but they couldn't mention anything about ritualistic or like anything that even leaned or hinted towards Odinism, ritualistic, anything even like that. It was barred. They couldn't bring anything up. They showed the pictures.
Well,
Like,
what about
like
just the thought of them being unalived elsewhere? Not even bringing up Odinism. Unalived, like it. What was his name? Logan.
Ron Logan.
Logan, who's right there, could have been unalived there and then placed. I'm just thinking, were they drained of the red liquid?
It seems like there was. It seemed like Abby's was not there. Libby's was. There was a large pool
But one was not.
that tested for Libby's, but Abby was like pristine, like her hands were pristine, her body, her torso was pristine. She had nothing on her that you would expect with that type of wound, and that was not the case with Libby. So it's very
How old were the girls?
13 and 14.
13, 14. Yeah, I was close. It just, I guess it's really bad when you look at that. I'm going, this could not have happened where they're laying.
Yeah, I mean, to me,
It just doesn't
well,
fit.
I want you to remind me because I told you what's going on, so there's a likelihood I'll forget. But like,
Yeah.
remind me. I want to send you the motion to correct errors, or
Okay.
if anybody out there, any of my people have it, and you want to send it, shoot it over. You're going to want to read it. It really goes into a lot. Ultimately, it appears that what got him convicted was not the unspent casing or the confessions. It was this. Well, I guess it could be one of the confessions where they're claiming that Monica Walla, who was his prison psychologist, is alleging that she wrote this narrative type confession where he talks about this van, that there was this van that he was bringing the girls down the hill. This white van drives by, or he just says a van. Actually, he says a van drives by and it spooks him. And after he's spooked, that he unalives the girls, and and then that's when the phone stops moving at 2:32. That's when that all goes down. So they're saying that Brad Weber, he's the guy who lives down there. So you got Ron Logan's property down there, and you got Brad Weber. Brad Weber has a private drive. It's gated. He works at the Subaru plant in a town about 25, 30 minutes away in Lafayette. He gets off work around 2:00. They say he gets home right when Abby's phone, like right before Abby's phone stops. So that became the state's timeline. The state's timeline is when, and then the state doubled down in his closing. Nick McClelland said, "Oh, the last act that makes Abby a hero as well as Libby, because Libby filmed the killer, but that Abby hid the phone under herself."
Well, that's something else too, is how in the heck can someone with his physical issues, his knee, his physique, and everything else, take down 2 girls who were in softball and athletic and nobody hear a thing? Come on now, I'm deaf, but come on. Oh, by the way, thank you so much, Mandy. That was my birth name, by the way. I'm adopted, so I have multiple names. I was adopted with my twin brother, so I have birth parents, foster parents, adopted parents, spiritual parents. I got a lot of parents.
That's good. Take the village.
Most of them are deceased, but yeah.
Take the village,
Took a village. My twin and I it was a twin brother. We stayed together. Since they were both confessed to the unaliving of the girls, is there a correction between Elvis Fields and Ron Logan?
Don't know.
Now, Ron Logan is deceased, right?
Yes.
Okay, but do you believe? Now, I saw the pictures of the guy on the bridge, and I saw the pictures, and I'm like, that's not the same guy. If you look at the torso length and the lead length, and I'm just looking at my mind's going more of mathematical and physical, and it doesn't look like the same guy.
I agree.
It's my mind. There's just
Richard Allen's 5'5".
Right. The other one was what, 5'9", 5'10"? I could be wrong.
Who? Ron Logan?
What's Logan? How tall is Logan?
Like 6 foot or
tall.
Okay. He's a big dude. He's like a normal size guy. Like Rick, the first time I laid eyes on Rick Allen, I was like, what? He's like by far the smallest guy in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Like, by far. Like when you'd see Rick Allen, like when you see a really short man, like a man, that would be the first thing that you would say about him.
My daughter's boyfriend is shorter than her, and he's shorter than me.
How short is he? How short is he?
5'1", 5'2".
So he's short as hell. So let me ask you, I
think he's about 5'3", 5'4".
That's short as shit. So let me ask you, if you were to describe him, if you didn't know him, if he wasn't your daughter's boyfriend, and you saw that guy, what would be the first thing that you would describe him as?
Short.
Really short?
No, I would say embarrassingly short. I would call him petite. There's a difference. There's short, and then there's petite. Then there's little person. I would say somewhere between little person and short.
Either way, any one of those three, none of the eyewitnesses that claim that they saw a bridge guy ever described the person they saw as little, very little, petite, or a little person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize to me. My dog's laying right here.
That's Sensei. She is my professionally trained service dog. She came from an organization. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm Ada Kay. I am born hearing, but now I'm fully deaf without my hearing aids or special ears. That's why Diane's here. But that's why we also focus on trying to provide interpreting for lives when we can. But Sensei tells me when the doorbell goes off, she's my ears. She saved me in Washington from getting hit by a bus. Bus wasn't stopping when they should have. Do you know how, like, you have the white, now I'm not being racist. I had the white blinking man. I looked 2 blocks away was a city bus. It was 3 lanes in each direction and a turning lane, 7 lanes. I get to the turning lane and all of a sudden the dog pulls me back, almost pulling me to the ground. And that bus was no more than a foot away from me. And the people come running and I said, I'm deaf. I couldn't hear it. And they go, they don't stop here, honey. So she saved my life. And we've had a hotel that had a fire alarm going off, and mine in my room didn't go off, but the next doors did. And she came and got me. I mean, she's just amazing. So sometimes she wants loving. So one thing you see on the bottom, guys, we have a giveaway once a month, and you don't have to be a member of my channel. If you subscribe, you get entries. If you say if you hit the like and put the words LIKED, there will be a drawing to get you additional entries into it. So y'all, if you want a free $50 gift card to Starbucks or wherever it is you like to have a gift card, hit the like button, hit I liked, and then read the rest for the others. I love giving things away. I normally give a tumbler away every month, Starbucks tumbler. Some of us collect them.
What about Starbucks coffee itself? Do you give that away?
I give you a gift card, and honey, you can go get your coffee. I actually have a coffee sponsor. It's let me see, can one of my mods throw that up? Hitchman Homestead Coffee. It's freshly roasted ground, doesn't have any of that chemicals for preservatives. It
sounds organic.
It is. It's super organic, super clean coffee. I love it. And I also have an organic tea company too. Do you love coffee?
I do love coffee.
What?
Allison says and tea.
Oh,
my
I
wife
didn't understand.
Screen. She said my wife's off screen. She said and tea.
Oh, I have tea. It's called Ollie Tea. It's wonderful. Female veteran owns the company, and she hand mixes everything. It's amazing. So, yeah.
Oh, look, one of your mods just put the link for Ollie Tea right in your chat.
And you do get a 10. You put Ada K 10. Let me see if I can pull up that banner. Ada K 10. You can get 10% off every time, not just once, but every time you order. So, I don't really get anything. I like supporting veterans, and I like supporting women, and I support homegrown small businesses. And so they keep me in tea and coffee. If you noticed earlier, I take the coffee and I made me a macchiato.
Looks delicious.
Oh, it was. It was. It's a Sunday night, and I need it.
So do you think that this I liked thing that you do, is that get you in the algo? Is that the hope that when you type in I liked? Do you think
I don't know.
The algo?
I don't know.
We're all trying to crack the YouTube algorithm, you know?
I do it because I like I love to give things away. I love it when I'm somewhere and I get a freebie or a possibility of a freebie.
Yeah.
I like to reward my peeps for being loyal and giving them an opportunity to win something. We had somebody win a $50 gift card and I tell them it doesn't have to be Starbucks. If you don't have that and you want a gift card to Walmart, I'll get you that. And then throughout the time, I do sometimes sporadically just give things away when I can. And shipping sucks, so I'm trying to do things that are more digital.
Hey, did you know that you can, how long has your channel been out there?
My channel has been, we got monetized August, I believe.
So did you know that you can gift 10 memberships every month? Did you know that, right?
No. What? I pay for the memberships, or they're free.
No, you get 10, you get you do it in increments of 5 every month. You have 10
memberships. How do I do that?
So you gotta get out.
Oh, I see it. Membership gifting. Oh, gift 5 now.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So you do it
so I just gifted 5 now.
Boom. There you go.
Boom. Thank you.
There you go.
But
that too.
Oh yeah, and I do love doing that. But it's
there's no question giving is way better than receiving. Me too. It's
but I wish I could go to do you know who Broken Baker is, right?
I do.
He's going to be at Dollywood, and this chick knows Dolly, and I would love to go back to Dollywood, but I can't afford it this year.
Yeah, I was on with go figure, right, Miss Wild? Me teaching tech. That's unbelievable. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it?
So I do have a question back to the trials. What do you think? I kind of think I know the answer to this, but I've had people asking me. Dollywood, I was there, Lisa, the day it opened. And I was there the whole week. Dollywood. I was there the whole freaking week, and I got into her apartment above the Applejack store because I met a cute boy, and we kind of hooked up and had some nothing. We didn't do anything, but I was only like 14. But he had a day off and he gave me the tour and he goes, "Oh, I forgot to feed Miss Dolly's baby sharks." And I said, "You liar." And he goes, "She has baby sharks. I gotta go." And I said, "Prove it." And he said, "Come on." So I got up into her apartment and I got to see the wigs and I groped her blingy clothes and it was gorgeous. And then you hear this click, 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 click. And I went, "Shit." And so I run over and stand next to him, and she walks in while he's feeding the shark. "What he's doing? Who's this cute little thing? Is this your girlfriend?"
I'll tell you what, Dolly Parton's a treasure, an American treasure.
I got to tell you, she is exactly what you see is exactly who she is.
Everything I've ever.
She gave me a big hug, and let me tell you, they're not very soft.
Aww.
Oh, she's just a sweetheart. So I've met her several times since then. She won't recognize me as an adult. I was in my early 20s. But no, she's a great person. If you ever have an opportunity to go to Dollywood, it is a great place to go. They almost got burnt down when they had all that fires in Pigeon Forge and everything. So that was but back to my question. Do you think that what is a percentage if you were bet man, and you probably know I'm going for this. If you were in Las Vegas and going to bet, what do you think his chances are of getting either a new trial or getting out of this?
At what stage? I think his direct appeal is low.
Right.
Probably like 90%. He's not going to get a remand from that. At a higher level, I think it increases his probability of potentially getting a new trial. And he's got several avenues. He can obviously do post-conviction relief act petitions after the appeals are done, and you can always go over to the federal track with the habeas. So, I mean, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard to undo these things. Really hard. Like it's like, that's what I'm saying. When you try to sit back and think about any other case, and not just you, anybody out in the audience,
anyone
case that you can think of where there's been this many people that seriously are questioning whether or not they have the right person. I can't think of a case.
And you know more cases than most of us.
Right. And that goes to the lack of evidence against him.
What bothers me is even if he was guilty, and I'm saying big if, don't think he was. I have the saying, in my humble opinion equals I'm a hoe. I'm a hoe. He's saying he's not guilty. And, but the thing is that even if he is acquitted, returned, whatever, he's freed in any way. The damage that's been done to this man is never going to heal 100%.
Never.
His wife, and I've been the wife of an accused person, and let me tell you, that sucks. Because you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. You support him, you're damned. If you leave him, you're damned. And no matter what you do, you catch hell from the community. And I know the walk she's walking, and it sucks. And if she ever needs to talk to anybody, you can give her my information. I have been there. Our case was on Nancy Grace. Went to East Coast to West Coast, very big case in Texas, and it was a federal, but should have been state. But anyway, what's been done to this man, just the way he was held and the way he was treated in a prison, which he should not even been in. So what is happening oh, by the way, real quick, y'all, this stream in the ticker down below, it says, "Buy me a cup of coffee, Lady Di." She does not charge me to interpret for me. This is all her blessing, and she does this as a gift to the deaf community. I do know I have one deaf person watching right now. Hi. And so if y'all want to bless her, let me know. Just say, "We bless Diane," so we know that you blessed her, so I can say thank you to you. Um, but right now, he's been convicted and he is in prison. What is he in solitary confinement again? Is he in
Sure
general
he is.
pop?
When they sent him back to Westville, same place that he went psychotic. So, yeah, I mean,
Why would they send him back?
why wouldn't they?
I mean, is he back into solitary confinement?
I'm assuming so. He's not in Gen Pop.
Well, there is there is a certain level of timing and time frame and everything that they have to there's a process. Of course, they put them on the unalive watch for a certain period of time, and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yep.
Can you explain that to people because they don't understand? Even like with Sarah Boone, she drives me crazy. Okay, I'll gift it to Miss Diane. Lisa, thank you so much. Um, there is a process that they have to go through, and it's not it doesn't matter who you are. So I'll let you explain that if you don't mind.
What are you talking about? The appellate process?
No, the process when once you're convicted and they take you back to the prison, everybody gets if you've been convicted for life or any certain convictions, you automatically go on the self-harm watch and
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
process and all that.
it may be a little bit different with Alan since he's been in IDOC for the better part of 2 years, but like typically he should have been going through kind of the stage where they're evaluating where they should try to put him. Like, what's the best fit? Like, does he need a facility that has some higher availability of like mental health treatment facilities within the facility itself, or and he ends up they sent him right back to Westville within like a week. So like they're just not following any normal protocol with him.
So can you explain to me about Westville? And I've heard this stuff, but I want to hear from somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about.
It's a shithole, and that's
It's a
all we need.
shithole. No,
Like they're
I'm
literally
saying
building a new one.
what I'm saying. Well, I guess the question I'm going to get. Oh, Tracy K sent me the document that you were going to send me.
It's my
Thank you,
girl.
Tracy, so much. You were so awesome, Tracy. Love you. Um, what I'm talking
That's
about
the
is I
DD
lost my
Army
train.
there, right there for you.
What was my question? I lost my train of thought. Shoot.
I don't know.
Well, I lost my train of thought.
It was regarding Westville. You were asking about Westville in particular.
Oh,
I don't know what
the prison guards who had the Odinism patches on their uniforms. Is that actually true or is that
Yeah,
conspiracy?
totally true. Totally true.
Why in the hell are they allowed to do that when
I don't know.
nobody else you can't put crap on your uniform.
That's
So
right.
they tattooed it on their face?
That's correct. That's also true.
Oh my gosh.
There is no like I can't answer that question because it's not allowable. Can't put I love Odin. Odin's awesome. Can't put patches on your state issued uniforms. Never seen of such a thing. It's absurd.
It's insane.
It's insane.
When I had to be in uniform and I was a chaplain, and sometimes when I worked at the state hospital and other facilities, I'd say, well, you could wear a cross necklace, you could wear a necklace or something, but if it was anything tied to certain things, I know what the Odinism necklace looks like, Odin necklace and some of their signs look like, and I get that, but then for them to tattoo it on their face while they're employed, that's not against policy, is it?
I mean, maybe they put a little makeup on, cover it up. Yeah, I mean, if you're taking the patch off and you're getting the tattoo just as a big FU, until oh yeah, I'll take the patch off, but I'm going to put the tattoo on. So there you go.
Well, and I want to say this. There's a lot of people out there who are thinking that, okay, I will say that there are some people that are Odin. I know somebody, I didn't know they were, but I suspected they were. Don't mean that they are white. Can I say on YouTube?
Yeah.
White supremacist doesn't mean that they're all into this mix and the people are meshing these two together. Some people may be, and that doesn't mean everybody who is of that faith is also a white supremacist. But what concerns me though is when you hire security guards or prison guards, you are supposed to be able to not have that kind of influence because they will separate the inmates who are of that same thought and same they try to, they
Sure.
try to keep some of these inmates separated. But then you have guards who are of that belief. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. I just can't wrap my head around why would that happen? And why is the warden still the warden? And why was he permitting the treatment of Richard Allen the way that he was treated, tortured? That was psychological torture. Thank you so much. I'll pass it on. That was psychological torture. Why is there no answers to this? Has anybody brought up any of this to the governor or to the government?
Well, yeah, I mean, they brought it up to the attorney general. I mean, everybody's aware of it. Like, what do you think they're going to say? You know what I mean? It's
Oh
like,
crap, we need to fix this and not.
come on,
Oh, I know. I'm
come on.
looking for something that's not going to happen.
Like
My heart is bleeding for this man, and I want answers.
I know we all do. We all do. So I mean,
I'm not trying to be mean, but if anybody deserves to be locked up like that, it's Sarah Boone. Because that's what she did to somebody. I mean, she should be in a suitcase and drop down the stairs and beaten half to death. No,
Sarah Boone's a real turd. There's no question about it. She's a real turd.
if you believe the eye for an eye type mentality, and don't understand, I'm not advocating for people to do that. It was rhetorical. But I guess it's just so.
It was rhetorical.
Did I use a word wrong? I'm sorry.
I like the way that you say some real explosive shit, and then you're like, but no, that was rhetorical.
I don't want to get in trouble.
I love it. I love it. I'm a huge fan of it.
There's ways to say that, but you can say things in all due respect, Your Honor. You're shit for a judge. You suck. In all respect, and you suck.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I mean, I want to go over to the Karen Reed trial, and I want to go look at Auntie Bev and go.
Oh my God, Bev is like a saint compared to Gull.
Well, guess what?
I'm going to tell you that.
I have ordered a witch riding a broom, and it's going to be hanging back here. And when she starts going off, I'm going to push the button. It goes. Whenever we say the word, whenever we would bring up Sarah Boone, I'm turning it down because I don't want to. Sarah Boone. Every time, because that woman has. I mean, it's a red siren when you bring that name up.
There's no question, and she's the smartest chick in the room, or at least she thinks she is.
That's what. Do you know what my grandpa? Do you know what my grandpa used to say to me?
Tell you one thing: I excel at everything. Just never forget.
Yeah, just want to let you know.
I excel at everything. That Sarah Boone.
I'm sorry, Diane.
I do have to go. I love you. I want to come back here. Anytime you want me to come back, I will come back.
And if you have something that you want me to interpret, just let me know. We'll either both of us, one of us. I
love what you guys are doing here. Can I tell? I want to leave telling one real quick story. So last year I was at Jazz Fest down in New Orleans. Rolling Stones were playing. Mick Jagger, 80, whatever, 81, just a mind blowing.
You didn't see what I did.
Yeah, baby. You cannot believe how amazing the Stones sound for all being complete geriatrics. But they had a woman that was signing, which I love. I love going to concerts where
that's a rarity, by the way.
And I have Mick Jagger, the legendary Mick Jagger, like on the stage, doing his thing, his whole thing. And I could not take my eyes off the ASL one. Like the signer was I took a video, not of Mick Jagger,
but the signer,
but the signer, because the signer was
is there going like this with the guitar
it
and
was all of it. It was like it
all
was
of it.
amazing. I loved it. So I love what you do.
Thanks,
I
Bob.
love, yeah, you guys are
Well,
great. I love the
I
channel.
do in music interpreting, and so does Miss Diane. But I don't do rock because I can't hear. And don't get me doing rap because I'll be going because I can't hear anything. But
I think rap would be good. It's the bass. You could feel
I could feel the bass and I could maybe shake a little bit.
There you go, girl.
But I can't understand the words. I want to thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate you. We're going to stay on just for a few minutes longer.
Okay.
Stay in touch. I might invite, I would like to, if something big happens, I might ask you to come back on and talk about it. We'll stay in touch. I will pray for you and your family.
Cover all cases, you know, like I'm a lawyer.
Well, one thing that I really want someone's opinion. I would really love your opinion on the Karen Reed case because you're outside of the normal bubble of all those attorneys, you know, that are involved in the case.
Yeah,
I have questions. By the way,
I haven't declared allegiance to one of the sides. So, yeah, and
well, my mother has
Karen Reed on my channel.
By the way, my mother has the same card that she had. And I'm going to tell you, there's no way in hell that that light was broken like they say it was.
I agree.
And I have seen bodies. I've seen somebody get hit by a car in front of me. I have seen a lot of bodies hit. And I got to tell you,
Well, that's my whole problem with that case has always been that none of the injuries sustained by John O'Keefe are in any way indicating that he was struck by a motor vehicle. Nothing. There's no like you do not get hit by a 6-ton vehicle and not have
at 25 miles an hour. Let me tell you,
have bruising. I don't care I don't care what part of your body it hits. That thing.
The bumper's going to hit. I'm going to tell you because I stood next to that. My son is 6'5". I'm 5'5".
He's a giant.
I'm 5'5". He's 6'5".
He's a giant. Your son's a giant.
I love my giant. And I will tell you that the bumper sticks out just enough that it's going to hit that body before your elbow. And no way and people call it glass. People, listen to me. Listen to me. Pay attention. This is pay attention in sign language. It's not glass. It's plastic. They keep calling the rear light glass. It's plastic and it breaks differently. It breaks differently. It responds differently. It's so.
An 80K, if you get hit by a 6-ton vehicle, you're going to have a bruise.
You're going to have more than one.
You're going to have your entire,
the whole side of that body.
Will be a black and blue block.
The knees, between the knees and the hip is going to have a bruise, honey.
Anywhere you got hit, bruised. All right, you're amazing.
As my dear friend says, bitch, please get real.
I love it.
So be safe. Have a great. Tell the missus thank you for letting me steal you away. And I'm going to visit with your people just a little bit longer. But in the meantime, prayers and blessings
to you.
Thank you.
Love what you guys.
By the way, the highest form of thank you in the Native American world is miigwech.
Aw,
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Love you.
Bye. Oh my gosh, y'all. Was that not freaking amazing? Oh my gosh. Here we go. Oh, no. There we go. I'm going to put you on this side of me because where my eyes match with the camera. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, we have a lot of thank yous to do. Y'all don't go away right now. I would love to be able to what are your questions? What are your comments? I have, I got 2 private chats, so I got to go look at. You need to go check on buy you a cup of coffee. It says you're not accepting payments at the moment. You need to contact them later. I will send you if they put your name on it, I'll send it to you. Okay, love. Don't do it now, baby. Do it later. I'm a nurse. Those are, wait a minute. It's copping out. Okay. Why did it not do that? Okay, Debbie, you're saying that those are car injuries? You're a nurse. Those are car injuries. Who said that? I lost the comment all of a sudden. I understand that a lot of people think that those are car injuries. Oh, they are not car injuries. Thank you. Um, car injuries can look different on everybody, and it also depends on the weather. Like I said, if he was hit, he was down in the snow, the body's not gonna react as if it was laying in not cold weather and it was hot. It also took how long did it take for him to pass away? It also affects the blood flow. If the heart is pumping, the blood's flowing, it's gonna bruise. If it's not, it's just a lot of technical stuff in it. Um Oh, that's a good idea, Lisa. Let's all save the link for Buy Her a Cup of Coffee. Remember to go in a couple of days and click on it. Thank you so much. Diane will go ahead and try and get that worked out as soon as she can. Uh, I made a typo where? Oh, she made a typo. Guys, I make typos all the time and I have people go in comments and give me hell, but that's okay. I want to thank all the new people that hopped on here tonight. I appreciate you. You're amazing. Haley Mouse, thank you so much. You've done so good. Thank you for being here. All my mods, Yana, ADHD, that was awesome. I love having new people on and I love his opinion. Now, once again, when I came to this case, guys, I had no idea what this case was about. All I knew was that there was a man who was accused of unaliving somebody. Diane, if you want to go ahead and try and fix that, I'll hop your camera off for a second. Um, and oh, whoa, now you're seeing my mess behind me. Sorry about that, guys. I know that all I knew was that there was a man who was being held in a prison prior to trial. He shouldn't have been. Knew that part of it. And so I dove in and I wanted to look at the rest of it. And then the more I looked into this, the more I went, what the ever loving hell is going on here? I am appalled. I am opening it right now. The defendant, Richard Allen, verified motion to correct errors that was filed on January 20th. And I'm sure all of you have seen this. I have not. So, how many pages is this? Oh, 24 pages. No, we're not going to go through that tonight. I will go through this and do a deep dive into this probably sometime this week. So we are going to follow this trial, follow what's left of this trial. It breaks my heart that this trial was not live, was not on camera. It just pisses me off. I saw something with my name, ADA. And I don't know. No one knows. Yeah, we'll do a deep dive. I'll do it one night. I'm going to start trying to do a little bit more, at least a couple of nights a week, have a nighttime live. For those of you who are new to my channel, we stream pretty much during the day. So tomorrow we have the Monica Simatilli, if I said it right, I say it wrong, trial in day 3. Y'all, that's a trial. And if y'all want to come join us for that, please do. Has been no justice for Delphi, and I think we need to have justice for Delphi. So definitely need justice for the victims and Richard, because Richard Allen is a victim in this case as well. Oh, there, Anna Burkhart is out of town, but I think she would definitely join your channel. She is an amazing person and she would be great one to interview. She was there every day as well. Lisa, if you know her or if you are a mod or you know how to contact her, get her in contact with me. I would love to do something with her. If you would help facilitate that, that would be awesome. I greatly appreciate it. Please like the video. Yes. Yes, I will. You will be in the monthly giveaway. Let me see. I want to check something. Oh, I can check it over here. I have a cool setup. Y'all haven't seen it yet. I only have 15 likes, guys. Oh my gosh, here's my setup. Let me embiggen this. That is my setup, y'all. Isn't that cool? So, right now we are I will be giving away I'll be doing a drawing tonight. That drawing will put you in for a $50 gift card. So make sure you hit that like button. Let me refresh this. All right, we're up to 59. Yay! We refreshed. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. So tomorrow, I think at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 8 a.m. I think 8 a.m. Central Standard. By the way, I'm in Central Texas. I'm north of San Antonio. I'm not in San Antonio. I'm in the hill country of Texas. And so at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, we will be on with the I keep wanting to call it cinnamon tilly. Cinnamatilli trial. It has been a very interesting one, let me tell you. She's guilty as hell. She's another one of those Sarah Booners. Diane, are you good or are you not good?
How to make it. Oh, see, it just says when I put my mouse on support 5, it says Diane Riddick ASL interpreter is not accepting payments at the moment. I don't know how come or how to
Okay,
change.
we'll work on that tomorrow, love.
All right.
In the meantime,
Okay.
no, well, or when we get off the live. When we get off the live, we'll work on it. In the meantime, if you want to bless Diane, just put Diane in the super chat and I'll make sure I give it to her. Whose accent do you love? My accent? Y'all, I go real Texas. I was born in Bristol, Tennessee. I'm a Tennessee Mountain Hillbilly, Texas redneck. You got to be in it to win it. If you become, if you subscribe, put I sub. That will get you extra entries, and that will go on at the end of the month as well. You became a member or gifted a membership or received a membership, you will be entered as well. So y'all, who wouldn't want a $50 gift card to the favorite place? I'm going to come back real quick and make sure we did everything. Steve Morales, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Lisa, thank you so much for your super chat. Julie, thank you much for your question. Debbie, thank you for your question. I think we answered them all. Jennifer Hill, thank you so much for your super chat and question. Mandy D, I was Mandy Jane. Thank you so much for your super chat, your question. Lisa Shelton, thank you so much for your super chat. Debbie, thank you for your question. Haley Mouse, thank you for your memberships. Thank you, Jenny, for gifting a membership. Lisa, thank you for being a new member. Yay. Lisa Shelton also gifted 5 memberships. Mandy, thank you for the question. Mandy, oh my gosh, you got another super sticker. And then, of course, I gifted. I didn't know I could. Lisa Shelton, thank you again. And Jenny, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, y'all are so amazing. Thank you so very much. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And we do have a Discord mod. Can you put my Discord up, please? We do have a Discord, and please go over there. We do movies. I'm getting ready to start adding some new things over there, so it's going to be great. We are growing once again. I've only been doing this for a very short time, and this is not something I chose to do. I fell into this. I came in wanting to do something called Jail Widow, where I shared about what it's like to be a jail widow, what it's like to go through the process, like the wife of Richard. Same thing she's going through, different charge, but same thing. And so, but because of that, it kind of fell into this. So there you go. Thank you for bringing more coverage to this case. I don't want the fires to burn out. No, I will do my best to keep it going. For court documents, guys, we have a partnership, and oh my God, they are absolutely amazing. If you've not heard of them, they are As the Gavel Drops. Once again, we thank As the Gavel Drops so much for your partnership with us as we get to dive into court cases by reading court documents. If you love to read court documents, get the information firsthand, please go to Discord, go to As the Gavel Drops, register, validate your account, and then you too can get the same documents that all of us get. And it is a fabulous, fabulous place to go and do that. So thank you, As the Gavel Drops, for partnering with us. And because of that, we get access to so many things. If you do use any of the As the Gavel Drops documents anywhere publicly, please give them credit, because a lot of these are paid for by the mods and or people like me who do gift them, and you can gift them money or coffee, which pays for document fees. We love you, Miss Diane. Let me get you back up here so we can say hello and goodbye to Miss Diane. She's sitting there trying to figure out what's wrong with her account.
For sure.
Yep. Miss Diane, thank you so very much. We love you, appreciate you. Bob, thank you so much. Prayers for you and your family. Blessings to you and your family. Thank you for taking this time out with us. An hour and a half. He said an hour. He gave us an hour and a half. But I'm going to go ahead and say farewell to you guys because guess what? This chick has got to get up at the crack of dawn tomorrow and get here for court. So I hope to see some of you newbies in court tomorrow. If you guys don't know anything about her, I've got some you can. Jesse, thank you for becoming a new member. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We welcome you to the channel. Miss Diane, who's wearing a beautiful purple shirt today. I never see you in anything other than black.
I've got some beautiful things and just never get to wear them. But I decided I'd spread it out tonight and put this one on. It matches my fish, my lips.
Yes. And I will tell you, I did not look like Emily D. Baker tonight, y'all. Look, I didn't do the Emily look tonight, so I'm giving it to you. Here's the Emily D. Baker. I have glasses, but I left them in the other room.
Yeah.
But I love me Emily D. Baker, y'all. I'm not making fun of her. I love her to death. Okay. Everyone, let's do the drawing. I don't want to forget because I almost forgot. Let's do the drawing. Let me share. Okay, here goes the drawing, and I'm getting my pencil.
Do it, do it, do it.
Yana! Oh my gosh, you won, Yana!
How about that? Good for Yana.
Congratulations, Ms. Yana. Thank you guys so very much. Now, that is just the I liked. I have to narrow down the numbers on the drawing because one time everybody who I liked and everybody who subbed and did all that stuff was in the drawing and it bogged down the system and it almost didn't draw a name. So the way we do is every day, every court feed or every time I'm live, everybody who said I liked will be in the drawing for the night. That will get you in the drawing for the end of the month. Every time you subscribe, every time you're a member, you gift memberships, every time you do any super chats, all of that will add up. And at the end of the month, you may have 100 entries. Dr. Vonda K. Hey, Bay. Hey, Bob. Bob just hopped off. Please go back and rewatch this live. If you are just hopping on, I apologize. He had to go. Be Blazy. Hey, welcome. I have not been able to say hi to everybody like I normally do. Jean Ann, Future, Haley Mouse, Yana, Lisa. I just can't go back. There's just too many of you. But just know that I greatly love and appreciate everybody. Miss Diane, I love you. You have a fabulous night. Haley Mouse, I see you. You did great. We will talk in a second. Everybody else, good night. Sleep well. Be blessed. And remember, love on somebody tomorrow who needs a little TSC. Life's hard. We got to be kind to everybody. And I hope to see a lot of you tomorrow morning, 8 Central Time, in court for the Monica Cemetilli. If I think of it like cemetery and put Cemetilli, I get it right. Cemetilli. Okay? So we'll see you there for the Cemetilli trial at 8 a.m. Bye. Blessings and be good. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care. Oh my